Is Throgg still the king of trolling in Tides of Torment? Oh, he's an outright emperor of trolls now. This guy is the outright Burger King of trolls. He comes to franchise. Let's go over how Throgg is truly special for the current game, and not just because they redid his voicing. And I think it's fine, by the way. Throgg comes in with a flat 400 upkeep and is of course too large to ever gain a mount. Without any upgrades, he comes on ultra scale at 8008 health. His armor begins at 55, which is not tremendous, with the standard 15% missile resistance. I have to mention it because some lords do not. Leadership 70 is in the middle, speed 56 and charge speed 88 aren't bad right out of the cave. Melee attack begins at 60, which is on the high end and very respectable. All attacks inflict frostbite for minus 30% speed if they land. Attack interval is the standard 4 seconds, that's a gap between animations however long they last. Splash icon size of large means that fellow trolls or Fimir warriors will dilute his damage. Max targets actually damaged by splash of 5, regardless of how many go flying. Melee defense of 50 is entirely respectable. Weapon strength 495 feels like just enough to keep him from splashing an additional target in terms of damage. Split base 123 and armor piercing 372, very precisely weighted. He shows armor little respect, in other words. This is accompanied by a bonus versus large of 28. That's not as high as Aranessa, but it's high enough. Charge bonus of 50 adds to these formidable numbers with the initial strikes and follow-ups to them, and mass is 4,000. Even in his default state, he gains access to Copious Vomit, a short-range breath attack against a ground unit, making an explosion-like effect upon impact, 60-second cooldown, 3 uses, 60-meter range, direct damage 108 with 30% armor piercing, 27 explosion damage, 100% of which is armor piercing. There are 11 projectiles in a stream, and the explosion purportedly has a 5-meter radius. So this can put some serious hurt into stuff, but it won't help against a dragon swooping in. That will matter for certain monster hunts. Throgg causes fear, is considered a siege attacker, and something that might not be expected, he can hide in forest too. As faction leader and lord of the monstrous horde. While this video will not touch on every aspect of the Troll Empire mechanics, let's begin with post-battle loot plus 10%, so more battles, more money, faction-wide. Troll upkeep minus 20% and faction-wide physical resistance for trolls plus 15%. That's all trolls, not just Norscan ones. That is important. Now, aside from a super early mission as Throgg, you may be wondering how in the old world to recruit the Bile Trolls and other varieties. Here it says the cap is Bile 18, Armored Chaos 10, River 8, Stone 8. So when you get a tech to give plus 2 to capacities, it's on top of those. What you need is a settlement with a specific type of den listed. Chaos Wastes, north of Throgg, starting territory can contribute Bile Troll and Armored Chaos Troll dens, but to exploit this, you need not the Troll and Giant recruitment chain, which has a rank 1 version under Throgg only, but the Troll Empire main building that expands Troll Dominion too. This becomes a recruitment building for that type of troll specifically, thus enabling global recruitment elsewhere. As a general, Throgg adds plus 2 corruption to local province. Trolls cost minus 20% to recruit whether it's local or global from what I've seen. That's in his army only. All units are immune to all attrition, even special right ones in his army. Leadership plus 10 for troll units in his army, which is always nice. Also, it says he has regeneration. Yeah, he has it in multiplayer too, so I'm not sure why this has to be pointed out. Throgg's blue line is a mirror of Wulfrik's excellent blue line, except for the midway pip, Masters of the Fen, granting both types of Fimir heroes recruit rank plus 5 and giving 1 extra capacity for Fimir Bale Fiends specifically. Throgg begins with 1 of Lore of Shadows. The red line skills are the same as other generals, but this bears serious major note. Bile Trolls and other non-Norscan types get red line boosts now. It's not just Throgg, though it's obviously intended to be for him and around him. That means Frostbitten gives Skin Wolves and all varieties of Trolls melee attack plus 6 and weapon strength plus 12% at 3 pips. At rank 7 and above, Skin Wolves use Icy Wrath, Trolls use Hulks of Death like Giants and Mammoths. You still get a choice of stand or die and fight or die. Pick your poison. Throgg can get Eye of the Gods at rank 7 for plus 10% weapon strength for 1 pip, and since his gets pretty up there, you want a flat percentage boost to pad it. Aura of Chaos at rank 9 is 1 pip for plus 10% extra missile resistance. Voice of the Dark Gods at rank 15 is same old plus 4 leadership aura strength, plus 50% aura size, a third shaved off the cooldown of stand or die or fight or die, whichever you have if you have either yet. Hardened Monstrosities at rank 15 grants barrier hit points plus 800 for monstrous Arcanum monsters, melee attack plus 8 for the same, and perfect vigor if rank 7 or above. Now, because you can get recruitable Norscan units from dilemmas, there are entries for Marauder Champions, Horse Masters, and Hunters with Javelins in the Monstrous Arcanum. I have found no sign that this boost helps such human units from the Arcanum panel. Throgg's yellow combat line comes prepaid with 1 pip in Copious Vomit. From here, 2 pips in Devastating Charge gives plus 30 flat charge bonus, and AT is pretty nice. Thick-Skinned adds plus 15 armor at 2, and his armor didn't start fantastic. Hard to Hit is plus 12 melee defense at 2, Deadly Blade plus 12 melee attack at 2. The midway pip is Deadly Onslaught. This is usually a capstone. I guess no Foe Seeker in campaign. It definitely is there in multiplayer. Woundmaker is plus 20% weapon strength at 2 pips. Good thing Eye of the Gods helps there too. Scarred Veteran plus 15% health at 2. Indomitable for leadership plus 12 at 2. Quicksilver for plus 15% speed at 2. And Colossal Strike for the capstone. So yes, that means plus 25% weapon strength, plus 16 bonus versus large, immunity to psychology during this time, and no law says he can't stagger this with Deadly Onslaught or use them at the same time. For his normal personal line, rank 12 lets us access Lord of Beasts, control plus 2 for all provinces, plus 12 leadership in Throgg's own army to Trolls, Fimir, and Skin Wolves. This doubles up for Trolls and triples up within his leadership radius, and minus 10% upkeep for those 3 unit types. Primordial Might not only adds 3 more uses of Copious Vomit, minus 50% cooldown for that ability, but also gives Throgg himself straight up plus 20% weapon strength, so that's plus 50% possible from the skill tree now. Awesome. Mutant Regeneration upgrades Trolls and Skin Wolves to Horrible Regeneration, which means you'll see dead entities get back up and walk it off. Grants both plus 20% missile resistance regardless of unit rank, combining with Tex leaning into that, and normal regeneration for the ordinarily awesome Fimir units. Monstrous Fiends grants melee defense plus 8 to Trolls, Skin Wolves, and Fimir units, but hold on, it provides actual frenzy too. So melee attack plus 10, weapon strength, and charge bonus plus 10%, and immunity to psychology until leadership drops low enough to break frenzy. Good thing we got big leadership boosts, huh? Dread Retainers has 3 pips because you unlock 3 banners for Throgg's army. The first is for a Skin Wolf unit and not a Troll unit. Didn't they already have Strider, but slapping on Stalk and Unspottable is scary strong. Troll Guardian gives a Troll unit melee defense plus 12, expert charge defense, Guardian to better guard Throgg and squishier spellcasters, and Unbreakable. Unbreakable Trolls. Ooh boy. Fimir Line Breakers give Vicious Assault 3 to a Fimir unit to generate a plus 12 melee attack aura like a Skin Wolf Werekin, affecting self and others, though it's not the same as the 4th pip upgrade for such, so you might be able to overlap the two. And it provides the Rattled Contact effect for minus 8 melee attack and minus 20 melee defense for 20 seconds. Think I saw this on a legendary hero recently. Oh yeah, that was Bjork. Plus, charge bonus 50 flat for that unit. Fimir line breakers indeed. Lord of Monstrosities shaves minus 10% upkeep from Norscan monster units faction-wide, shaves 2 turns from global recruitment for Trolls, Skin Wolves, and Fimir faction-wide, and gives causes terror to Throgg himself, where he did not have it before, which incidentally means permanent immunity to psychology. And let's note, yes, this is going to overlap with Wulfrik if Throgg confederated him. So Wulfrik would be able to recruit those monstrous units even faster than Throgg personally in global. Of course, this works in reverse too. And yeah, regular Skin Wolves 1-turn recruitment in global is kind of a big deal. At rank 15, we begin a mini line that exists to run up the score. Weather Beaten adds plus 15% health to Throgg, unit mass plus 20% to Throgg, so 4,000 becomes 4,800, and gives Throgg the Chilling Aura for another minus 30% debuff to enemy speed independent of him smacking stuff. At rank 18, Battle Hardened increases the battle healing cap plus 15% for all armies faction-wide. So trolls the world over, thank you, Throgg. For his army specifically, casualty replenishment an extra plus 8%, which is nice, and applies to everybody, not just trolls. At rank 22, unusually late, Unite the Creatures grants plus 2 recruit rank to Monster, Troll, and Fimir faction-wide, plus 2 units to the Troll Wa mechanic under Throgg, obviously applicable only if he's your starting legendary lord. Physical resistance plus 10% for Bile, Chaos, River, and Stone Trolls faction-wide to add to what they get from Throgg as your legendary, if he is, and unit experience plus 20% for Throgg's army. The Wintertooth Crown, his only unique item, which is in the enchanted items slot, involves fighting dwarfs, with a rank 2 Ungrim Iron Fist to tangle with as the last wave. My little video on early army comp gave me just enough tools to silence the grudge throwers before they could do enormous damage. I rushed and trashed Rangers and Thunderers best I could, and the Horsemen, basic Horsemen, were instrumental for erasing Slayers in the last phase. I was kind of desperate for money too, and the post-battle loot was 5,000, the reward 5,000 as well. Benefits are Corruption Local Province plus 5, Intercept Chance plus 10%, Recruitment Cost minus 10% for Throgg, Melee Defense plus 10 for Throgg, and the active ability 120 second cooldown, 24 seconds duration, 55 meter radius affecting self and others, plus 24 melee defense, and those in it become unbreakable. Unbreakable plus 24 melee defense trolls in a 55 meter radius. Ooh boy. So how do we use Throgg, Lord of the Monstrous Horde? To summarize a lot more complicated stuff, Throgg is a beatstick, he's very resilient, he regenerates, that means 20% fire weakness, but whatever. He is not inherently magical attack, but you can get weapon drops for that. He naturally slows and stops enemy advances. His Monstrous Horde functions like a Wa, as in, there's a fat reinforcement time. Lightning Strike pips can reduce that, but the extra meat is valuable, and unlike the norm, those units replenish between battles if allowed to. They disappear when the duration of the horde ends. These ones aren't inserted into your actual army, so it's a follow-on horde, hence Troll Wa, in my telling. Throgg's real enemy is what it was before Ties of Torment. Poverty. There's so many settlements in the north of the map which are considered Norscan region. You don't care if others raise them, you don't care if you raise them. Aside from being unable to put an altar there, there's no way you can assemble the money to build up everything everywhere. Some of these will be permanently unwalled major settlements, but there will be unwalled settlement battles there, and you might win those against the underprepared. Bottom line, Throgg can not only recruit lots of trolls cheaply, but he can add more as a Wa that he doesn't have to pay gold for, which is a big win. But ultimately, he needs to be aimed at factions that are the equivalent of banks to rob. Spending 40 turns cleaning up the north and keeping confederated Wulfrik on land, it works mind, but it's also not ideal. By the way, I was doing that because I was testing how to recruit the Bile Trolls and stuff like that. I ended up fighting Archaon. Legend included the Armored Chaos Troll in a never recruit list because in Chaos, you'd have to forever not upgrade a troll to a Bile Troll in order to get one. Yeah, here you don't have such concerns. Use the really armored trolls, as tough as nails, meat shields for the other kinds, and have at it. Complementing your core troll force is a big deal, but I was surviving with far too early an army around my core trolls and Throgg himself going into turn 60. It doesn't need to be complicated, but you do not want to drown from lack of speed and skirmishing, and you do not want the enemy to go unpunished for not having enough of both, even without being Wulfrik with Horsemasters, as in, even with basic horsemen and a couple of hounds units. I was wrecking a lot of stuff, because Throgg is that dominant in melee, and his trolls get super beefy as he goes, unless they can punish troll weaknesses. The trolls will end the battle at full health and well fed. It's your marauders that will eat the cheap damage, but you'd rather they did than lose troll entities. Also, the starting hero is a great education in how Shadow can make beefy lords hit even harder. Throgg is married to the monstrous Arcana mechanic. His short victory needs him to win hunts. So, prepare best you can and see what you can get away with. That first Frost Dragon is really annoying and gates your entire access to the stuff. But with a hunt active and in the general area, you'll keep getting dilemmas, some of which are really helpful to you. The battles provide immediate profit and 10-turn boosts. Not as great for the taming hunts, but you can do 2 stages of each, and there are a whole bunch of them. The first stage gets you a special item, the second stage, against a tougher army, gets you recruitable monsters at the end, but there's a cooldown of like 4 turns in between. The glory hunts not only give unique items, but regiments of renown for your trouble, but you only get to do those once, so treasure them when you get them. Because Throgg starts in Norscan areas, he can unite the tribes, yes, but just don't neglect your need for serious money. You need to be out there hunting Ordertide, or feasting on evil factions that otherwise might befriend you and not bother you much. It's up to you, but Throgg can't fight what he can't catch. And a lot of the taming hunts are for climes well outside the north, which is another reason why confederating Wulfrik is just plain advantageous. I'll get into hard details another time, but troll dominion buildings can be built even in altar settlements. The ones that consume troll-kind currency give you tradable resources, which can be nice, but what Throgg needs until he gets comfortable is domination. Those buildings give fat troll garrison boosts, and the passive boosts to building income would be nice, but Norscan money buildings are weak. Without Wulfrik's options for raiding and printing money from sea encounters, you need to know where you're going to sack and where you're going to pillage as a side hustle to build up your best recruitment buildings and ports and so on. The armies are means to an end, and that end is the money required to afford the ridiculous amounts of trolls you will need, and their escorts chucking javelins and axes. But that's where the fun is. Go forth, raid, and pillage. Take care, and have fun painting the world troll.